A series of sudden and intense thunderstorms lashed Auckland overnight. More than 750 lightning strikes were recorded over a 4-hour period. Emergency services responded to over 200 weather-related call-outs after heavy downpours caused flash flooding in parts of the city. Sandringham and Mount Roskill took a serious drenching after a month's worth of rain fell in just one night. 2 people were rescued from floodwaters in the suburbs of Wesley and Onehunga, while a civil defence centre was set up in Three Kings. Zane Small begins our coverage.
Auckland's skyline illuminated by a lightning strike, followed by a thunderous boom. Tamaki Makaurau was hit by 750 lightning strikes overnight, as a heavy downpour caused flash flooding in parts of the city. Emergency services responded to 223 weather-related call-outs since 6 p.m. on Friday. At 4:30 a.m, a civil defence centre was stood up in the suburb of Three Kings.
Look, we had some wild weather in Auckland and resulted in some heavy rain, particularly in the Mount Roskill and the Sandringham area.
Suburbs where flooding is not uncommon.
The floors get damaged, have to dry them out, have to mop them up as well, and then can't go back to the place because it takes about 4 days to dry.
The Miola Creek waterway here in Mount Albert drains Auckland's largest city catchment, but as you can see it's completely blocked with debris, and that causes flooding for the surrounding area. The water flowed down the road to Mount Albert New World, which today was closed. Firefighters say the car park flooded rapidly, going from a puddle to a pond in just 15 minutes. About 8 centimetres of water entered the store, causing damage.
It's really sad because we just popped in and thought about them last night actually, because we were house sitting for somebody in Sandringham, and then it just crossed my mind about what happened the last time.
The supermarket only reopened 6 months ago, after significant damage was caused during the Auckland anniversary floods in 2023.
Yeah, it's just really sad for them because they worked so hard. It took such a long time to get it fixed up again.
The little French cafe next door was flooded too, also not for the first time.
It's been better than last time. Last time the water was up to 1 metre, now we just have experienced like 10 centimetres.
He says the cost of insurance increased after the cafe was flooded last time.
We are supposed to renew this like in 2 weeks, so we're going to have to pay more. There's nothing we can do. We all in this business, we invest our life, so there's no out for us.
And nor is there a way out for the water that keeps coming back each time Auckland gets a deluge.
Meanwhile, some Auckland residents are questioning why they weren't told about the storm sooner. There was no official weather warning until after midnight. Adam Hollingworth reports.
Aucklanders say midnight was just too late to be told about the severity of upcoming storms.
We didn't get the alert on the phone, didn't know it was going to be that bad.
There are unwelcome parallels to the lack of emergency coordination around the Auckland anniversary storms of 2023. And West Auckland councillor Shane Henderson says his constituents are worried.
And so everybody's on edge and freaked out, and not many people have had a lot of sleep, and people would have appreciated a heads up a bit earlier.
The Met Service issued a thunderstorm watch, not even a warning, at midnight, arguing the trouble with thunderstorms is they're highly localised.
Again, these storms, just one long, skinny, narrow band that just produce these really intense downpours, very difficult to predict.
And Civil Defence says it was taking its lead from the Met Service in sharing the information with Aucklanders.
We got the watch issued by Met Service at midnight, so then we had some certainty on what we were expecting, because of course we weren't sure how to interpret that, and then we responded accordingly.
But the Met Service says it will learn lessons from this event.
So no, it didn't meet the criteria for a warning. But at Met Service, we always review our processes for watches and warnings. So any significant weather event like Cyclone Tam, we go back and we have a look at what worked and if there are tweaks needed for the criteria and threshold. Every single weather system is different, right? So Met Service learns from real-world observations and the impacts on the ground.
If last night was a sting in Cyclone Tam's tail, the Met Service fears there could be a sting in the tail of the tail.
Zane joins us now. Zane, are we through the worst of it?
Well, a severe weather watch was issued for parts of Auckland this afternoon. Some people would have received a mobile phone alert, but that warning came to an end at 6 p.m. and the Civil Defence Centre in Three Kings has now been stood down. Air New Zealand says 15 flights had to be cancelled today due to the weather, but it still managed to operate over 200 flights as of 3 p.m. As for electricity, Vector says around 20,000 people were without power during the peak of the storm overnight. But in an update a few hours ago, Vector said 99.97% of its customers were back on. But looking beyond Auckland, there are some weather watches to keep across. A severe thunderstorm watch is in place for the Bay of Plenty and Gisborne until midday tomorrow.